When exactly is Final Fantasy VII R Episode 2 going to be coming out? I have to love people like Angry Joe coming out and saying, oh, the entire thing is going to be out in 8 years. Like, for one thing, it should have been out in its entirety already, years ago. Maybe 2-3 years after the initial reveal at most. We had to wait 5 for this, and you have no basis. Okay, so you have no idea how long it's going to take to make episode 2, 3, 4, 5. I imagine it's going to be at least 5 episodes if this is any indication. If Square Enix's history is any indication. You don't know how long they're going to take to make. You don't know how long they're going to take to release. You don't know if they're going to get released. It might not be worth it in the end. Like, Final Fantasy VII R might have been such a disaster that people might actually jump ship, like with the sequels. This might actually be the franchise killer. It might actually lose a significant portion of their player base with each entry. Like, if you're expected to play the first one to understand the plot, like, and the first one is as widely reviled as it is, the follow-ups might not do so well. It's just, I don't think it's going to take 8 years to finish the trilogy, to finish the series, is what I'm getting. Like, I think you would be lucky if we got another part 2 in 5 years. Like, I'm being completely serious here. Like, I think it might take a significant period of time for episode 2 to come out. Like, 2 years at least, which is already way too much. Like I said, it should have been done years ago. But, like, 2 years at the very least is when episode 2 is going to come out. And episode 3, probably another 2 years at the very least after that. Presumably, at a full $60 for each of them. Like, assuming that's what they do. Like, it's kind of interesting. Like, people are already damage controlling the episodic nature of the game when we don't know anything about, like, the release schedule, the pricing schedule, how many episodes there are going to be, how far they're going to be spaced apart, what events they're going to cover. Like, there's so much in the air still. Like, what exactly they're trying to do with this remake, even now that it's already out. I am shocked and appalled that so many people are still defending it. Like, the remake is terrible. It's out. Like, my predictions were correct. Like, this is not a good remake. And yet you still have people coming out giving this game like 9 out of 10s, giving it inflated scores on Metacritic, like coming to its rescue like a white knight. Like, they really are simping for this game. It's downright absurd, the links they'll go to sort of pretend that this game is good and that, like, ooh, Square Enix made the right call to make it episodic. Square Enix can't do anything wrong. Like, I'm not happy with how this turned out at all. To me, it feels like Square Enix is desperately trying to milk the Final Fantasy VII Remake because they knew this was the last thing they had. Like, this was their last big game. Like, they really cannot continue to keep doing what they've been doing with Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy VII R, Final Fantasy 14, right? Like, they've pretty much killed all of their other IPs. Dragon Quest is going to go to shit once Hori retires. They're reaching the point where all their other IPs are dead. Like, they're reaching the point now where they can't really rely on the Final Fantasy Golden Goose forever. Like, it really is, it has been for years, basically been running off nostalgia and blind fanboyism. And now we're sort of reaching the point where certain members of the audience, like myself, outright hold these people in contempt for the shit they pull on a regular basis. The excuses they made for not developing on Nintendo hardware. The excuses they made for why they make certain games. Why they moved away from turn-based combat. Why they refused to make a real remake of Final Fantasy VII R. Why they made it episodic. Like, all of these things that are downright disgusting and downright deal breakers for me. Like, they have no real answer for. Like, it's despicable right? It is despicable to see people praise and hype them up for probably one of the worst things they've ever done. To be completely bluntly honest with you, like I am not impressed with what they've done with Final Fantasy VII R in the least. Like nothing about it is appealing to me. I won't be buying it on PC. I won't be. I won't be looking forward to episode 2. Like the main thing I'll be doing is like following along with the drama as it develops. I'll be continuing to watch streamers trying to defend it, and people pretend like it's some pretend to be excited for the next part. But meanwhile, I'll be playing real games. I'll be playing new JRPGs. I'll be playing like I don't know Octopath 2 by that point. Like Bravely Default 2 is coming out. Like, why would I even bother with Final Fantasy? Like, this is the same process, I think, that happened with Kingdom Hearts. I think, is that Square Enix kept fucking with me, right? They kept pumping out these spin-offs and games on consoles I didn't own, to the extent where, like, by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 finally came out, I had lost all interest in the franchise. Like, completely lost interest. I have still not played Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, a game I had been looking forward to since I finished Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2005, or 2006. Like, 2006, 14 years of waiting, 13 years of waiting. And that is not even tempted to play Kingdom Hearts 3. I literally do not give a shit. And Final Fantasy VII is going to the same boat, I think. I think it's going to add more and more pointless plot elements every episode. I think it's going to be really convoluted and ridiculous and treat established characters poorly. In particular, I think the Avalanche crew are going to get the shaft, and then like a Cat Sith. Once he's introduced, that'll really kill a lot of people's enthusiasm for these characters, I think. No matter what Square Enix does, they can't make Kate Sith cool. Like, it is just straight up impossible. If Eris lives, like, if Eris does live, if they literally do the one thing that they should never, ever have even considered doing, I think that'll destroy all their credibility. Like, I think that will... Even if you have the choice to let Eris live, I think that will kind of destroy this narrative that this is somehow a super expanded, faithful remake when it really isn't. I'm just again, I think the remake has already crashed and burned. It's mostly YouTubers just hyping it up and stuff like that. The game only sold like 3.5 million units. Not a whole lot. Like Square Enix declared a Tomb Raider 2013 a failure at selling about that much. So I'm expecting episode 2 onward is going to have a massively slashed budget. It's going to reuse a ton of assets. It's not going to be as fresh or interesting. It's going to be a lot more monotonous. It's going to be rushed. It's going to have a lot more ridiculous plot elements. I'm predicting episode 2 is going to be more of the same, but worse. Like, well, once people start waking up to the fact that, wait, this game isn't very good, episode 2, its problems will be more prevalent with episode 2. And I'm really wondering how people are going to try to damage control that. I'm not supportive of it at all. I think Square Enix is full of shit for everything they've tried to pull over the past couple of years. Since 97, I've been angry. Square Enix is just... they need to come back to Nintendo, and they need to do it yesterday. Like, they need to get the good young developers together, create good, new, exciting IPs that, good, new, exciting RPGs for Nintendo players, and sort of go from there, because the PlayStation is a sinking ship. Like, this is the end. We're nearing the end of an era in which people could seriously pretend that PlayStation was superior to Nintendo. It was never true. but we're reaching the point where they can't even really pretend anymore, and they're going to be pumping out all the stops to try and prolong the PlayStation life cycle. They're going to try these remakes. They're going to release everything they have on PS4 and 5. They're going to do everything to try to keep PlayStation relevant. But Switch has Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing is a game that people actually like to play.